Thank you for tuning in. This is DJ FobFresh from SegaShiro.com, the Sega Resource, and it is my absolute pleasure to finally bring you a video review of Valkyria Chronicles. I'm going to start off this review with a bit of a side story. Back in the 16-bit era, I had a friend who used to play RPGs all the way through, almost right up to the end, and right before the end he would quit. And he would do this from game to game, and it really started to bother me after a while, so I sat him down and I asked him, why? Why are you doing this? And he looked at me very sincerely and said, well, I've spent so much time with these characters, I've grown to care about them, and I don't want to see my relationship with them end. I don't want to see the game be finished, because if I don't finish it, I always know I have a great game to come back to. And I didn't understand it at the time. Well, I didn't understand it until I played Valkyria Chronicles. I put 50 hours into this game. I would easily put another 50 hours into it. I actually bought it at launch. And through the time I've spent with this game, I did not want it to end. However, I did finish the game, and I'm very happy I did, because it is easily the most complete and fulfilling Sega game that has been released on next-gen consoles. Easily the best game Sega's produced in a long, long time. Now, if some of the footage in this review looks a little unfamiliar, I've kept quite a bit of it from the DLC add-ons, because in 2009, Sega released a bunch of DLC campaigns. The Valkyria one is epic, but we'll get into that later. But, yeah, just a simply fantastic game, so let's start to delve into this. So the title was launched in 2008 in North America. It used a proprietary engine called the Canvas engine, and this engine was specifically designed to make the game look like a watercolor painting in motion, and my god, is it beautiful. The development team is Sega WoW, and members of that team have worked on all sorts of Sega classics, from House of the Dead, to Streets of Rage, to Sakura Wars, Skies of Arcadia, and even Shinobi. So this team knows what they're doing. The title is essentially a war sim, and it's set in a fictional version of World War II Europe called Europa. The story is told through episodes and chapters, beautifully designed as a history book that covers the war. Essentially, you are from a neutral nation called Gallia that's kind of locked in the middle between this war between the Imperial Alliance and the Atlantic Federation. The Imperial Alliance invades Gallia in order to utilize their rich stores of a ore called Ragnite. And the Gallian army responds, but specifically you play a small militia. A militia made up of common people who really want to do the best for their country. And this little band of misfits is actually sent on some of the craziest and most suicidal missions of the war. There's a lot of Sega fan service in this game, as you can just see that Vice from Skies of Arcadia and Ica from Skies of Arcadia actually appear in the game and in the world, and they're actually some of the best characters you can use outside of the main characters, so that's a nice touch. Now let's talk about the gameplay for a second. There's lots of strategy in this game, except it is incredibly well balanced. So, terrain, character interactions, weapons, leveling up your characters, all of this matters. And now I'm not going to get into the details of the Blitz system, but it's essentially a semi-real-time combat system, but it works fantastically. It's based around action points, and it also actually utilizes a rock, paper, scissors mechanic. There are even control points that you can use to gain a tactical advantage, and you have a main commander that can actually issue orders to boost certain attributes of your characters. It's a well-layered and a very deep system, one that actually gets better the longer you play the game. So as you level up your characters and as you progress through the story and get thrown into new situations, the depth of the title and the layers become more and more apparent. So towards the end of the game, you're actually thinking about a lot of things each time you make a move. And as you just saw in the footage that just went by, once you do beat the game, you actually get a Save Game Plus where you can play through it again, and you unlock a music tab so you can listen to the game's wonderful score. And of course you have all sorts of little unlockables and extra missions that you can unlock. It's got a lot of game here.
Are you hurt somewhere?
But my absolute favorite thing about Valkyria Chronicles is the storyline and the character depth. The characters over the course of the narrative really grow. and change over the course of the game. And this game really has it all in terms of story. Love, friendship, humor, race relations even. It delves into all aspects of war and battle and really does a great job of showing you multiple sides. Specifically, once you add the DLC in line with that, you get to be the Imperials and see things from their point of view and see General Damon in another light. Probably one issue with the game, though, and one thing that many gamers wish this title would have, is trophy support. There is an in-game medal system, but there is no PS3 trophy support. It's a little unfortunate just because with the amount of time that you're going to spend with this game, it would have been nice for that little extra reward. However, Sega did treat fans to extra content and DLC campaigns, and the Valkyria mission pack is amazing, and if you love the game, it definitely is worth its own download. The ED mission detachment is kind of humorous as it's the Gang of Misfits. However, it's not nearly as in-depth, long, or as awe-inspiring as the Valkyria campaign is. The game has garnered a ton of critical awards, ranging from Best Art, Best Graphics, RPG awards, Strategy awards, even Best Soundtrack, because really, this is such a compelling mix. You know, I started by saying that this was probably the most fulfilling Sega game, but not only that, this stands toe-to-toe to any other title you could throw at the PS3 or the Xbox 360. I like to think of this game from a retro viewer perspective sometimes. As a guy who's collected a bunch of Saturn titles, as a guy who knows that certain games live beyond their age, if I had to bet on one title from this era becoming Panzer Dragoon Saga, or becoming that title later in life, this would be it. Valkyria Chronicles is simply an amazing title top to bottom. Yes, it's not perfect, and there's always things that could be improved on, but in itself, it is an amazing game with a wonderful story and one of the best experiences on next-gen consoles. This is DJ Fobfresh signing out, saying keep on gaming, but really, if you're gonna game, you should probably be playing this one.